For thousands of years, India was one of the richest civilizations on Earth, a global center of science, trade, mathematics, and culture. But today, millions of Indians still live in poverty. What happened? How did a land once known for gold, silk, and knowledge become home to one of the world's largest poor populations? The answer is far more dramatic, far more complicated, and far more important than most people realize. And today, we're going to uncover it. India's story is not a simple one. It's not just corruption, not just overpopulation, and definitely not because people didn't work hard. Indians have historically been some of the most hardworking and entrepreneurial people on the planet. To understand why modern India struggles with poverty, we have to go back, far back, to a time when India wasn't a developing country, but one of the world's economic superpowers. For nearly 2,000 years, India contributed between 25% and 30% of the entire world's GDP. Spices, cotton, diamonds, mathematics, astronomy. India was a giant. People didn't sail to India just for fun. They sailed there because India was basically the Amazon plus Google plus China of the ancient world. Cities like Varanasi, Delhi, and Calicut thrived as trade hubs. Indian merchants exported cotton textiles to Europe and the Middle East, and Indian mathematicians like Aryabhata were laying the foundations of algebra and trigonometry centuries before Europe caught up. Then came colonialism. When the British arrived in the early 1700s, India still controlled around 24% of global GDP. By 1947, that had fallen to 3%. This wasn't an accident. Industries like handloom textiles, which had employed millions, were deliberately crushed so British factories could dominate. During the Bengal famine of 1943, around 3 million people died, not because of drought, but because food was exported to feed British soldiers and urban centers. Millions more suffered. Independence in 1947 didn't magically fix the economy. India inherited a wounded system, low literacy, low industrial capacity, and decades of restricted economic mobility. Then came the License Raj, a centralized bureaucratic system controlling business. Even in the 1970s and 1980s, entrepreneurs struggled to open factories. One famous example is Dhirubhai Ambani, who later founded Reliance Industries. He had to navigate endless government paperwork and regulations just to start small textile operations. Slow reforms meant India lagged behind other Asian nations like South Korea and Taiwan, which were rapidly industrializing. Everything began to change in 1991. India faced a severe balance of payments crisis, and reforms were implemented. Tariffs were reduced, taxes simplified, foreign investment encouraged, and privatization of some state-owned industries began. This unleashed massive economic growth. Cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad became tech hubs. Infosys and Wipro rose to global prominence. Millions of people entered the middle class, and poverty rates began to fall significantly. And yet, poverty persisted. Why? The answer lies in policy execution, governance, and social structures. The current government has launched ambitious programs, improving infrastructure, expanding digital services, and incentivizing entrepreneurship. Schemes like Digital India, nationwide sanitation programs, and initiatives to modernize transport and banking are transforming lives. But the pace of change often struggles to match the scale of India's population. Bureaucratic delays, inconsistent policy enforcement, and selective implementation mean benefits don't always reach those who need them most. For example, education gaps. Despite programs like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan aiming to improve school access, many rural schools still lack trained teachers, libraries, or electricity. Students from poor districts fall behind their urban peers. Healthcare underinvestment. India spends a smaller percentage of GDP on public health compared to other developing countries. During COVID-19, under-resourced hospitals and delayed vaccination drives highlighted systemic weaknesses. Agricultural support failures. Farmers in states like Maharashtra and Punjab have faced debt crises and repeated crop failures. Subsidy programs exist, but are inconsistently applied, and lack of access to modern equipment limits productivity. Infrastructure bottlenecks. Mega projects like the Bharatmala highway network or new metro lines often suffer delays due to land acquisition disputes or local opposition, slowing economic integration. Compare this to China, which faced similar historical setbacks: massive population, low literacy, and underdeveloped infrastructure. China could implement reforms rapidly and enforce policies nationwide, building cities, factories, and export industries almost from scratch. Citizens were able to participate in a system that rewarded work, innovation, and productivity at unprecedented speed. India, by contrast, operates as a democracy with multiple layers of authority, which ensures accountability but often slows ambitious projects. People's behavior also matters. Millions of Indians are hardworking, skilled, and entrepreneurial, yet social inequalities, caste barriers, and uneven access to education mean talent isn't fully utilized. For example, a student in rural Bihar might dream of becoming a software engineer, but lacks high-quality schools, mentorship, or reliable electricity. Meanwhile, urban students in Delhi or Mumbai have far better opportunities. Infrastructure remains another bottleneck. Roads, electricity, and public transport are improving. The Golden Quadrilateral Highway network connects major cities, while metro systems expand in Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. But for 1.4 billion people, catch-up is slow. Urbanization creates modern hubs, but also sprawling slums. Millions now use smartphones and digital banking, but millions more still struggle for clean water, reliable electricity, and adequate housing. Ultimately, India's poverty isn't about blame. It's a complex mix of history, governance, social structures, citizen behavior, and policy missteps or inaction. Policies are improving, citizens are industrious, and infrastructure is catching up. If reforms continue to reach more people, if education and healthcare are strengthened, and if social inequalities are addressed, India can not only reduce poverty further, but reclaim a position as a global superpower. So the question isn't just, why are Indians poor? The question is becoming, how fast can India align history, government, and people to achieve its extraordinary potential? And with 1.4 billion people, billions of ideas, and centuries of innovation, the answer could reshape the world.